This is a video review of the coloring book Summer Nights, illustrated by Hanna Karlzon. I was really struck by this book and some of the pictures that were in it based on some coloring pages that were uploaded to Facebook coloring groups by hobby colorists. And I was so impressed with some of the pictures that I just had to get the books. Now, I don't color. I am an artist, and I create my own coloring books and print them via Amazon and CreateSpace. But sometimes other artists' books just sort of stand out, and I wanted to provide a video flip through of this just to showcase some of the beautiful artwork that is in this book. Again, it's Summer Nights by Hanna Karlzon. This is a hardcover book, and the pages in the book are nice and thick, but I would probably recommend anybody who buys the books to use page protectors between, sorry about that, that was my kitty cat, to protect the illustrations on the other side. This book has been copyrighted in 2016, and the publisher, I believe, is Gibbs Smith in Utah. So you'll see how intricate her designs are, and it's pretty neat how the design sort of comes over to the other page, the way she's placed this in the book. A lot of people are enjoying the This Book Belongs To page in the front so they could put their name on there. Not all coloring book artists do this, but she did. And the intricate designs are just absolutely delighted. All the lines are pretty much the same weight, so it almost looks like she used the same depth or breadth of ink pen nib on the pictures. Here is a picture of the first page. Beautiful, beautiful styling, very nice lines. There's some stippling in there to add a little shading depth. Very intricate lines, just gorgeous, gorgeous illustration. And here's another page with the dream clock inside. Again, I believe that the artist used a pen with the same size nib for all of her drawings, but they're very crisp. They're very well laid out, very aesthetic placement on the pages. Here's one of a door in a garden wall, gorgeous little mushrooms and flowers and dots and things of that nature. She does use stippling, and I believe, again, she uses the same size ink pen for the drawings. This is an absolutely delightful cricket. I love the little Zentangle designs and patterns in there, the stippling on the flowers, and I think the only unfortunate thing about this book is that they are double-sided pages, so you have to be careful about using wet media. The artist may have intended for the book to only be used for colored pencils and crayons, but that's okay. If you know this ahead of time, you can make copies of the pages on cardstock yourself with your home printer. Here's another gorgeous lock with, I guess you could sort of see the hidden heart in there with the shape of the flowers and the little bee. Gorgeous line drawing. Here's a duplex page, the little bugs, flowers, berries, bees, caterpillars, more bees and butterflies. Gorgeous, gorgeous flowers. Love the two-page layout. Here's one of flowers and birds. Again, the patterns and the doodles inside of each just make it a very, very rich picture. Here's a picture of a crown with a bee in the front. Here's a little girl. I love the fact that she has freckles. The hair drawing is very well done. Most artists would just sort of scramble all the hair and the lines together, but the way she's kept the lines separate will allow you to put different variations of colors in there. And it almost seems like there's a sun or moon pattern, but it's in a circle, and lots of little design elements, maybe a dandelion flower, and it looks like the girl has some tattoos on her arm. Very charming picture. Here's a gorgeous, gorgeous, I love the border of all the flowers and the beautiful designs inside the butterfly. Here's some little mice on a trip putting stars up in the sky. Here's another gorgeous tangled bug. I just love the lines. They're all the same breadth and width for the actual lines themselves, which makes it very uniform for a beautiful manner of creating the coloring book images. Here's a kitty cat. She's used lots of stippling in there to shade, along with some just lines and other elements. The little butterfly saying hello to the kitty cat. Here's a in-town picture, and I don't know if these are jellyfish or mushrooms, but you know, if you're coloring this yourself, what does it matter? You make of it what you want it to be. Now these are very intricate 2-page spread of 4 owls. There's 2 on this page, there's 3 on this page, so 5 owls. There might be something else hidden in there, but some gorgeous iconic designs and doodles and little dotted elements, and I can see where somebody who loves a lot of intricate designs can really get into this. They're not overly difficult, but they're beautifully laid out on the page. Here's a spider web with a gem inside. So if you're into the gems for your Zentangle designs, and these are obviously clover flowers in amongst the spider web. Anybody who is in the coloring book design, you could take some tips as to how she's created her spider webs there. And here's a huge, I'm going to say this is a spider because it's got 8 legs, but just gorgeous, gorgeous layout of the design elements here. Here's another owl, and they're posing on some quartz crystals, I believe, with a crown. Here's a gorgeous drawing of dozens of mushrooms, little frog, more mushrooms. There's a little beetle down here at the top. There's some quartz crystals over here. There's a little slug or a snail, and another snail up there, and the frog has a little crown, so he must be a crown prince. Here's another 2-page layout. It's the gorgeous flowers on the left, and then the beautiful woman on the right. She's got a nose ring, lots of freckles. The way this artist has drawn the people in her books, it almost makes you want to know them because they do have a beautiful personality, and you could just see it coming out from the page. Here's some flowers that are dripping with crystal stamens. Gorgeous, gorgeous imagination. Lots of stippling to indicate shading. And here's 2 swans that are holding up a crystal gem between them. Here's another cityscape with some beautiful little gems and crystals down here at the bottom. And I'm assuming this is the ocean because over here in the little corner is a whale tail. And here's some fish, beautifully laid out patterns. You can just touch the scales that are on them and they feel like they're real. She's got some gorgeous little starburst patterns around the edge. And I think the little dots throughout the patterns and designs in her book actually sort of fill up and give you some ideas for what else you can draw or color into the book. And you notice that the fish have butterfly wings. Here's some simple flowers. So if you're sort of overwhelmed with the book, come here to the simpler page and try your drawing skills here first and then move on to the more intricate patterns. Now this particular picture has become extremely popular on Facebook. I have probably seen at least a dozen renditions of the coloring. Some people use just monotone colors down here on her tattoos on her body. Others use multicolored rainbow flavors all through the designs. It's a little bird, beautiful flowers up here. So you get this idea that she's very intriguing. Love the little freckles. That she's a mysterious woman, and she's got some tattoos on her fingers there. So that's why I think these are tattoos also on her body. Here's a cat with a pine cone or an acorn hat. Just delightful little picture, and he's in a frame, and he's holding mushrooms. So this would be a great picture probably for an older child to draw, just because of the design element and the topic. Here's some more mushrooms. Can you imagine the variety of colors you could use on this picture? A little butterfly, the mushrooms, the little bugs all through here, the crystals, and here's a beautiful bird in the background. And here's one of the bugs that she's designed. You can see all the crystal gems that are through here. Can you imagine those people who love to do the Zentangled gems and what they can do with this? Here's another house with a gorgeous frog. He's got a lot of little warts on top, but that's going to make some beautiful design elements. And it looks like he's on a log or something like that. And here's another frog in front of a house. Little bugs and leaves. This would make a delightful picture to color. And there's a flat frog just by himself with a gem in the middle. Love all the Zentangled doodles and patterns and things that are all through this frog. So this is another one of those pictures. It may be the simpler picture to start with, and you can go from there. Here's another mysterious woman. Maybe she's the princess that's going to kiss the frog. Great little bugs and flowers and designs all through, and probably here's the little pond. She's leaning over the bank. And here's a big long fish with a crown, so he must be the king of the sea. Little beetle bugs and beautiful lotus flowers and a little dragonfly up here, and gorgeous little coral and shells and little sea life. And here's the other side of the two-page layout. Similar with a lobster, the gems, the flowers, and the fish. Just delightful. Here's another cityscape. And here's a little slug, mushrooms. This is reminiscent of the Russian domes. And very interesting little, I'm not sure if these are fungi or mushrooms. Little beetle at the bottom. Here's a squirrel with a delightful flowery tail, and he's got a little jacket on and a little watch, so he's probably representing a season maybe. Here's another one of the intricately designed bugs, and I'm not quite sure what kind of bug it is. I'm sure it's imaginary, but it's got the gems in the middle that would be very delightful to color. Here's a little bird with some hanging flowers. Here's another two-page layout. Here's a little mouse that's on a flower shell with a little scarf, and a little bird pulling him along with some necklaces and gems and beads. Very beautiful, beautiful layout on this two-page spread. Here's another woman. I'm going to assume she might be representative of the night with all the stars on her face, the scarab over her forehead, gorgeous flowers, and I guess these are part of the headpiece she's wearing. Can you imagine coloring all this gorgeous earrings she's wearing? And then there's little freckles, very faint there on the picture. I'm going to say this is a scarab beetle, again with the gems. More beetles and bugs. And these look like some desert flowers with the bees and the bugs, and it looks like they're carting off some gems. Here's a frog that's diving down deep into the pond, and he's hiding gems and crystals and beautiful pieces of artwork down inside the flora and fauna down inside the bottom of the pond. Here's two fish. I guess these would be the two Gemini fish. And here's just a page of gems, and it's a snake encircling it and in framing this. So there's alternate, easy to color pages along with the more complicated one. This might be a little bit more complicated because of the hexagon honeycombs, but there's bees that are beautifully designed, and it looks like they're tending some gems inside. Here's some beautiful birds carrying some gems. Here's another one of the lovely ladies. I want to say she's wearing a bird headpiece. I don't think it's a dead bird, but very, very lovely earrings, flowers. So I guess you could use the flowers as tattoos with a monochrome color or with the multicolored. And of course she's got her little freckles, and she must be dreaming about feathers and stars in the night. And this, I can't tell if it's a cross between a chicken, a pheasant, or a peacock, or what this is. Very interesting bird, but it definitely lends itself to wanting to be colored. And here's some very simple feathers. Very simple, that would be easy to color. Here's another lady with an interesting mask in a gorgeous frame. Here's some bright sunflowers. Can you imagine the yellows and golds you can use on these flowers, and then the multicolored butterflies against those yellows and golds? There's a little caterpillar over here on the side. Here's some more gems. These are practice pages, I would assume, that you could practice coloring the gems before you go to the other pages to color the fuller images. Here's a woodpecker with a elongated and curved tail, a little caterpillar in the center there. And not sure quite what these are, but they look like they might be a whole bunch of strawberries strung on some long strings with some gems in between. And looks like this little girl is training her ibis for riding, and they're in the forest, and here's the path with the mushrooms and the strange flowers. And this is the snake page. So she has designed and drawn all sorts of snakes on a 2-page layout with all kinds of doodles and designs that are just amazing. Can you imagine how long it took the artist to put these together? Here's another bird with some beautiful flowers as a frame. Another little house with the iconic Russian roofs and the flowers framing the house itself. And here's some birds up in the skies while it's raining. Here's some more houses you can practice on if you're not sure you want to start some of the other more complicated pictures first. Here's a beautiful bird, almost like a phoenix. I'm not quite sure what kind of bird has these kind of long wings, but I've seen them before. And a gorgeous frame around the edge. And here's a little bird protecting some little mice with their little acorns in the flowers on the tree branch, with the little bugs on the flowers in the rain. And here's another 2-page spread with one bird holding one end of some dripping jewelry. And here's the other page with the other bird holding the other end with some beautiful gems and jewelry and stars. And here's some bugs in a little circle that goes round and round and round. So they must be getting ready to start a parade. And here's some birds in the forest with the flowers. Gorgeous, gorgeous, very intricate. And here's a bunny with some stipples to make the shading in a beautiful frame. And here's some more keys to practice on. And another 2-page layout. These look like storks with some magical stars and waves and things on one around the frame. And here's the other stork on the other side of the page. And here's a chameleon. And it looks like they're in the middle of a forest with a rock and some ferns in the background, some mushrooms, some of the fungi plants. Now this is probably one of the prettiest layout pictures in the book. Some gorgeous dogwood in a round vine with the butterfly in the middle. So this is one of those pages that might be beautifully colored and framed. Here's a bat. How delightful. It's upside down, and she's got some beautiful designs inside the bat wings and some gorgeous flowers in a frame. And here's another gem at the top. And this looks like some kind of strange bird, maybe a duckbill, but it's got some strange body shape. So this must be totally out of her imagination. And this looks like an upside down flower that the bird is posing on. And here's some more birds with, looks like they're plucking or holding the jewelry and the gems that are on the jewelry. Just beautiful designs. And here's another lady. This one also, I would say, is one of those that are suited for framing. Gorgeous daylilies around her head, the crown, freckles. She looks so serene and so peaceful with herself. Gorgeous hair coming down in the single lines that'll make it easy to blend several different colors of her hair. And here's two little mice that are sleeping in a log, surrounded by beautiful little mushrooms, and they must be fairy houses because there's little windows in them. And there's bugs and leaves around them, so they're very quiet and content and taking their little nap. And here's some more practice pages for your mushrooms. So little fairy houses with the door and the windows. Here's a little kitty cat surrounded by birds, so they're having a good time. He must be watching the time because he's got a little clock. And there's a lot of stippling for shading to give the cat a little bit more dimension. Again, this is one of the more beautiful frameable pages and pictures in the book. Gorgeous butterfly, or maybe it's a moth, and in this sweet, beautifully designed and laid out frame around it with the dripping jewelry. And here's one of the final pages. This little girl's having a wonderful contemplation moment, laying on the ground with her little puppy and her little kitty cat. Flowers all around her, her hair streaming around. You can imagine that just moments before she closed her eyes, she was looking up in the sky and imagining what the clouds were shaped as before she decided to take her nap. Here's another one of the simple pages with a key and some stars and hearts. And the book last says, dedicated to my family, friends, and all the daydreamers who color in my books. So there's the book. Here's the back cover. She is a Swedish artist, I believe, and she does India ink images, so she does use a pen with India ink. And here's the cover of the book. Again, it's called Summer Nights. It's an adult coloring book illustrated by Hanna Karlzon, and she does have some of the most aesthetically pleasing and beautiful images in this book. I would definitely highly recommend you purchasing it if you are into these type of intricate designs.